5, 4, 3. Dice Tower Tonight, episode 51. Where'd you go? Crystal disappeared. Well, that's awesome. Frozen Crystal.
Oh, there you are.
There you are. Let's try this again.
Okay.
Dice Tower Tonight, episode 51.
A hasty retreat stream.
Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, I'm in Miami for the Dice Tower Retreat, showing off Tom's master plan for game organization in the Dice Tower Library, and maybe hanging out with a special guest or two. Or, alternately, Crystal has to run the show because our hotel internet cuts out. Either way, we'll chat with the audience live. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the Charlie to our Angels, Crystal Pisano.
Yeah, so it was funny because your face froze, and obviously I froze on your end too, and I was like, I don't know what to do now.
Yes, looks like we have some echoing people are complaining about. So I'm going to run and get my headphones. Crystal, why don't you talk about how your week's been?
Okay. Well, I apologize, y'all. You're going to have to deal with the echo until he plugs the headphones in. Eric is in Florida right now for the Dice Tower Retreat. I am still in Las Vegas, where I normally live. My week has been kind of stressful, but I did get some gaming in on Labor Day, which was pretty nice. Some friends came over to the house, and we played a whole bunch of games on Labor Day, so that was fun. Life stuff has been less great, but, board games are a good way to escape from the other crummy stuff, so that's always a good thing. Board games.
Yeah, hopefully that's a little bit better, although I think maybe you were talking about, you may be hearing me out of these and not that. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We're
he says so much better. So
yeah. We're live here in the room for the Dice Tower Retreat. We've been setting up all day today, and let me move out of the way. No, let me move the other way.
You gotta tilt that camera down. Can you tilt it down at all? Because that is a beautiful sight back there.
There we go. That I'm actually gonna remove it here and sort of show it off a little bit.
That's not the camera that is currently streaming. That's not the camera.
What do you mean it's not the camera?
That's or not on Skype at least. Oh, maybe it is on the eCam. Is it a different one?
Aha! Well,
okay.
That's interesting.
Well, fine. I didn't want to see it anyway.
I didn't think you wanted to.
No, I can see it on YouTube, so it's good.
See, this is what happens when you let Tom set up the stream, is what I'm going to say. So, it's been a long day for me. I've been up since 2:15 to catch my very early flight to Miami and get here to set up this room. Tom got to put together his master plan of creating the Dice Tower Library in its current form. You saw those shelves; those are movable and coverable and storable. So the idea being that we spent a lot of time unpacking all these boxes and putting them up on shelves and labeling where they go. And they shouldn't have to move in this incarnation of the library. We will pack them up as is on the shelf, ship them where they're going next, which will be Dice Tower West. No.
Dice Tower Cruise.
Dice Tower Cruise, and then to Dice Tower West, and then back for Dice Tower East. But it will be the same library, same shelves, same positioning of everything, and then we'll just be adding new games as that goes. And you could maybe have seen that there were some empty shelves, a little bit of extra room. It's exciting. And there's the big controversy, of course, is that we didn't alphabetize. Tom put his foot down and said, I am not alphabetizing this library. This is going to be we're going to organize by size and aesthetics. So if you notice there, everything looks all nice and uniform, especially in those first few shelves. It gets a little wonky later on, because we just got to all the odd-shaped boxes and just had to throw them up on the shelf. But we started with, I think the first 3 or 4 racks are all Ticket to Ride sized boxes. And then we got into more crazy, larger and smaller sized boxes. But it's pretty neat. It looks lovely on the shelf, but finding things are going to be interesting. You're going to have to go to an alphabetized list that says where on the shelf you find a particular game.
I mean, that doesn't seem to be that unusual anyway, because even when the library was alphabetized, people would go to the shelf that they expected it to be on, and often wouldn't be able to find it, even, like, here's all the A games, but I can't find Altiplano. So they would usually still come over to the person that was on the computer that had the list anyway, just to find out whether it was checked in or checked out. So it feels like this is just, well, you're still going to a dedicated shelf anyway. Like, find out what the shelf is, head, and then look at it. Right. So.
Hi, Crystal. How are you?
It's Jason.
Hi, Jason.
I came to say hi. I can't hear you, but I see you saying hi. We just had alligator. I just had alligator for dinner.
He called me like 4 times to say, "You want to go get alligator? Come on, let's go get alligator."
Look at Tom in the background.
Really good. So, I'm gonna have to take him. He's never. Have you ever done one of those alligator airboats?
I have not done an alligator airboat.
We should probably do that. Maybe we'll organize a trip for the retreat and do like an alligator airboat and bring a bunch of people out on one of those air fan boats. Have you done one, Crystal?
I have not, but I will say that I've eaten alligator before, and it is delicious. And I'm a picky eater, but alligator sausage is something I highly recommend.
She recommends alligator sausage. Did they have alligator sausage at this place?
No, it was alligator in like a wine. It was a wine lemon sauce. It was really good. It was big.
It was big.
I can hear him.
Well, no, I'm just reiterating.
Okay,
that's Jason's review.
It was big.
And tasty.
Alligator, big and tasty. Jason Levine.
Definitely Jason should work in my field and work in marketing copy, because that it sells itself.
Work in marketing.
I might one day. So,
Yes,
indeed.
Anyway, we'll see you soon, Crystal, on the cruise.
Yes, I'm very excited.
We'll see you there.
Thanks, Jason.
I'm going to leave you alone now.
Okay.
I hope everyone at home is enjoying this show tonight.
They always enjoy Dice Tower tonight. It's one of their favorite shows. I say tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but it's okay.
I've actually had a couple people already come up and say that they watched the show, and in fact, one guy listened to a backlog of episodes for like 6 hours while he drove here. I guess he stripped the audio and
you have a visitor, Eric.
I know. Well, he keeps hovering and making faces. It's a good time.
I mean, that's what he's good at. So, and what's great is I can say whatever I want about him right now. He can't hear anything, so I can insult Tom
darn thing you said.
With reckless abandon if I really wanted to.
I think reckless abandon is the way to go.
What you saying?
She says she respects you very much, and she would like to thank you for the opportunity to be on this show.
You guys know I'm a dad, right? This is the same thing my kids will whisper and I'll be like, "What'd you say?" And she'll say, "We were talking how much we love you, Dad."
Yep.
Garbage!
So yeah, it's a very lively.
I'm literally crying. It's so good.
It's a very lively room for being like nothing going on. It's very lively in here because everybody wants to hang out and see the library, although we are technically not allowed to play anything. So it's very weird. It's like this viewing. And there's other setup tasks that are happening, but there's not a lot that needs to happen right now. But people are coming in and looking at the library and taking notes of what they want to play later in the weekend, and it's just a very active place for not being able to play any games.
Okay. Well, since you can't play any games, how about I tell you about a game that I played on Labor Day?
I would absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, so some friends came over to my house, and I had a few games that I wanted to teach them, and I'm only going to show these. I'm not going to actually talk about them at length. I'm going to talk about a game I don't have here at length, which is not, but I got to play Cartographers, which I have played a whole bunch of times since I got it at Gen Con, and I also got to play Letter Jam, which you just reviewed on the podcast, and I wanted to say that I agreed with most of your sentiments and a lot of Tom's as well, that like the extra rules are kind of weird, but the game is absolutely brilliant.
Yes,
Love
yes.
Letter Jam. And the way I've been teaching it and playing it with everybody is, did everybody find a word? Then we win, basically. That's kind of just the way I've been playing. But I wanted to talk to you about Lockup, which is another game from the same company that makes Cartographers, Thunderworks games.
Yep.
It's called Lockup, a Role-Player Tale. And it is a worker placement game set in this universe, same universe as Role Player and Cartographers, where you are all playing factions of creatures that are locked up in a prison and attempting to gain the most power in different areas of the prison to hire goons and get resources and ultimately acquire victory points. I am finding that thematic or interestingly themed worker placement games are tending to be some games that I really love, and this one is no exception for me. I enjoyed this thoroughly, with one caveat, which I will bring up maybe after, because you've played this one recently too, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I got to play this at Dice Tower Con, and I also enjoyed the thematic nature of it, and I believe we played this incorrectly at first. Where we were allowing you to return to areas, because there's all these different areas of the prison, and you're placing people into those areas. It's basically a majority game, and some of your pieces can be face down as sort of a secret blind bid, whereas others have to be played face up. And we were playing that you were allowed to slow play, basically put one token out there, and then come back to that zone later on and add more tokens into that zone. Turns out that you're not allowed to do that. You have to basically commit to one zone. If you're going to place in the library or I don't know, the forge or whatever it is, you have to place all of the tokens that you're going to place in that zone now, which changes things pretty significantly to force you to make your move and take a stand somewhere on the board, instead of sort of slow playing your way, because there is actually an ability that lets you do that thing that we were all doing. I really liked it. I like the production. You have these player trays that have they're shaped with bars like they're a prison, and they've got a little cardboard insert that when you first assemble it sticks in, so you have all these nasty critters sort of poking their way through these bars. Just a little thematic twist that I liked. We
really liked that one at first too, but then when I was looking at them from a distance, it was the background color was the player color, and the creatures were a different color, and the creatures are what I could see from a distance, and so I would be like, you're the blue player, but it looks like you're like brown or you're tan or whatever. The colors didn't come through as much as I thought they should, and admittedly that is the smallest of nitpicks and it doesn't really affect anything, but if you're going to make something like that, it would have been nice if it were more obvious what the player colors were, but not a big deal.
Yeah. Lance in the chat is asking who has a game on the table right now. The only games on the table are ones being positioned, or we've been adding a lot of promos to the table. So
that's very cool.
There's no, again, we're not allowed to play any games. I don't know if they're going to kick us out if we do, but that's technically the rule. Because they ask, can we play as soon as we get set up? They're like, no, you didn't pay for the room.
That's interesting.
We're here.
Okay. So yeah, Lockup is great. I think there is one serious problem with it, and that's not necessarily, well, it is the game's fault, but the game would be worse without it. Since the game state changes with every single player's turn, there is a lot of potential for analysis paralysis in this game. And my group tends to have that in spades, no matter the game.
Okay.
In this game specifically, it was unbearable. And again, I'm not saying that the people were unbearable, because you do want to think about your decision, and you can't plan your turn in advance. Even the player just before you could completely change what it is you need or want to do on your turn. So if your group is like mine and tends to take a lot of time and be thoughtful when it comes to their turn in a game, this one I still think it's worth playing. I still really love it. I'm still probably going to acquire it, but be aware that the playtime on the box, which I don't know what it is, but probably double or triple it would be my suggestion. We started playing, we started teaching the game at 7:30 p.m. I don't remember how long the teach time was, but we did not finish the game until about 10:30 p.m. Took us about 3 hours, and
wow.
and for this game, that should not be the case.
Yeah, I think this was about 90 minutes, even with our rules questions and the oopsie halfway through. But I can see how that can happen, especially with playing the rule properly, where you have to commit to a zone. That's a harder decision. You know, do I throw in that extra token? Which one do I keep secret? Yeah, I could see that being a problem.
It was tough, but I mean, I think it says a lot about the quality and the enjoyment of the game that I still want to play it again and I still want to acquire it, even though it took way longer than it should have. So yeah, I think Lockup, a role-player tale, is another win. Honestly, as far as Thunderworks Games is concerned, they can do no wrong so far, at least by me. I love role-player, I love cartographers, I love Lockup, so I'll just take all of the Thunderworks things going forward. And I will say that these three games, while set in the same universe, have basically nothing to do with one another. Like, you liking one means nothing in regard to how much you'll like the other two, in my opinion.
The only connection I found between Role Player and Lockup, I have not played Cartographers, was the set collection aspect of...
that's true.
There were criminals you could acquire, and there were pieces of equipment that you could forge that would also get you certain bonuses depending on who you grabbed. And that seemed very similar to some of the drafting aspects of Roleplayer.
That's true. Yeah, there is some set collection similarities. But yeah, so that was Lockup, a role-player tale.
So, trying to think if there's anything else I got to play today, or even come close to playing. What do I want to play?
I would love to know what is in the Dice Tower library that you are really itching to get to the table.
Yeah, well, we just found out that Tapestry is here, and I think that's probably going to be the most popular game. I may never get a chance to see it. That happened with Wingspan last year.
Yeah.
Tom had a copy of Wingspan at the retreat, and it was all hush-hush. We didn't know if we'd have it, or he couldn't tell anybody we were going to have it. In fact, we couldn't even talk about it until several weeks after the retreat. And while I got to look at it, I did not get a chance to sit down and play Wingspan during the
I
retreat.
didn't even get to play Wingspan on the cruise, and at that point, it was very well known. And
That was
everybody,
months later.
It was, too busy, and I couldn't take a seat in it when other people wanted to play it, so.
Yeah, that's that one I would love to play. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I mean, there's so many games over there. It's a lot. I wanted to play one of the adventure games from Cosmos. That's the new adventure that Tom talked about on the podcast. Although I did actually just get those in the mail from Cosmos. But there's one that's like a 16 plus age range, and so I'm a little worried about playing that with my kids. The other one I think is 12 plus, so I don't know why the other one is 16. It must have some sort of content.
Yeah, that would be my assumption.
Over the line. But I know there were a couple here that I wanted to play, and now, you know, my sleep-deprived brain is totally forgetting what I wanted to do.
Well, then I would say, for those of you in the chat, some of you have seen Tom post links to the Dice Tower library, or you might have a good idea of what might be in it. So if there are any games that you think Eric should play during the retreat, drop it in the chat. Let him know.
Yes.
And you can say what games you think I would play, but I'm not there. So I'll be on the cruise in just a few months. I really wish I was at the retreat with you all. We got to talk to my bosses about giving me a whole bunch of extra vacation days for board game stuff, which is very important.
It is the one nice thing about working for myself, although the downside is that it's like one whole book that I'm not recording.
Right, yeah, you don't get paid time off because you're self-employed.
Yeah, like I have the freedom to take as much time as I want, but then I don't get paid for those things. Anyway, Era showed up in the chat. That is a game I have not had a chance to play yet. Some folks heard me mention on the podcast that I have yet to play Everdell. So that's sort of on my agenda to play. A number of people have asked if they can play Merchant of Venus with me, so that's, I'm sure, going to hit the table at least once over the course of the weekend. Forenzi was one that somebody said they wanted to play with me. There's so many on there that I haven't had a chance to play yet.
Well, what's nice about the retreat, especially for those people in the chat who aren't really familiar with it, is unlike the cruise or the conventions, there really isn't anything else going on. It's just gaming the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think more often than not, if there are games you want to play, your best chance to get them played is at an event like Dice Tower Retreat or a smaller board game event that is just focused on open gaming and nothing else.
Yeah, and I mean, that was something that we, before tonight's show, we talked about, so this wasn't just a Let's Make Crystal Jealous show, was also the idea of talking about the merits of a small convention like this, a get-together style, where basically, I mean, this is a hotel ballroom. We could have picked pretty much any hotel space, and it's just based on what the size is that you're trying to fit into, and just get together. I've been to some get-together style board game meetups, conventions, that is just a small room with 10 tables in it. And people just got together, they pooled the money to rent the room, and here's the event that we're having. And it's worked out very well. And it's kind of nice to not have the pressure or the scheduling of scheduled events, and just be able to play whatever you want. Sleep in if you want, get up early if you want to be an early bird. I tend to like to do that, to get here very quickly and get a few games in while my mind is still fresh, and while it's still sort of quiet. And others like to stay up super late and just play 24 hours if they can.
Which I always tell people not to do. I know some people say that they're good at that, but I don't know. Maybe I am just not equipped for that kind of thing. But literally one night with less sleep and I'm already operating suboptimally. Also, I get very grumpy when I haven't had enough sleep. So if you ever see me at a convention and I happen to be especially grumpy, just tell me to take a nap. I'll be fine. But yeah, so for my podcast, Board Game Blitz, we actually did BlitzCon for 2 years. We didn't host it this year, but we did it the past 2 years. We did it 50 people the first year and 100 the second. Ambi's friends in the Bay Area technically were the ones kind of running it, and we were just partnered with them, basically. But yeah, they literally just rented a hotel space, sold badges, and we all showed up. A lot of people brought their own games, and then we had some games that got donated to put in the library, and then we had some play-to-win games as well that got donated from Double Exposure Envoy. But yeah, it was really not that difficult to, and that's not to say it's easy, but it's not as difficult as you might expect to run a small event like that, especially if you know you have a well-established gaming community in your area or somewhat nearby. A hotel will give you a space and give you a discounted block of rooms if they don't have anything else going on, because why wouldn't they? They want to fill those rooms, they want to fill those spaces. So I think especially if you look in non-peak times of the year, obviously not near holidays and other things like that, it's not that difficult to pull together.
Yes, I've never done it. I've never tried to go the route of contracts myself, because that's a little bit of a jump. We've said before that if you don't have any gaming events near you, then throw one. But there is a certain amount of financial risk that can go into booking a room, unless you manage to come to a deal or an agreement with the hotel, because they're not really going to use the space anyway. They might be willing to give you a discount, or a lot of contracts are dependent on how many rooms get booked. A space may not cost anything for a group to rent if enough of the attendees of that event spend their time in the hotel. And that's often an aspect of these sorts of things that regular attendees don't think about. that can very much be a part of the contract with the hotel, and so if you decide not to stay in the hotel, like, oh, that place up the street is a little cheaper, that could affect the contract for the next year, or even have some sort of financial burden on the people throwing the event. My friend was talking about an instance where they were supposed to have a bar at their event. We don't have a bar at this event, but they were going to have a bar in their event, and the hotel ran out of the favored beverage. And so people started going to the normal hotel bar up the hallway, which is fine for them, but that was money that was being taken away from the event coffers, and therefore taken away from the event planners and what the room block was and all of that. And it can get a lot more complicated than just, they don't have the kind of beer I want, so I'm going to go this way. It can be a lot more complicated than one thinks.
We're definitely, we have that as part of our thing for Dice Tower West here in Las Vegas. Booking hotel rooms is a big deal as for part of the convention, is making sure people are staying at the venue that the event is held at.
Yeah.
And I recognize that there are reasons that people might want to stay off-site. But yeah, those hotel rooms are essential in helping us with our negotiations with the venue for not just this year's event, but future years' events as well. We basically have to prove ourselves to them, and we have to continue to prove ourselves to them.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dice Tower West, there are still some badges available.
Yes.
I do not know the exact number, so I'm not being coy when I say I don't give a number here. I don't actually know what the exact number is. But we are, I think, nearing selling out. So if you want to come to Dice Tower West in Las Vegas, it is February 26th through March 1st. 5 full days of gaming. Badges are available now, but they will not be for much longer, is our assumption. So although I have to say I'm so happy that they did not sell out immediately, because there were some people that had messaged me and said, I don't get paid until Friday, am I going to still be able to get a badge? And I was like, I don't know. But they were, hopefully. So yes, if you get your badges and book your hotel rooms for Dice Tower West, go to dicetowerwest.com to do that. And Eric will be coming. I obviously live here in Vegas, so I'll be there. But the whole Dice Tower team, for the most part, will be present, as well as a lot of Dice Tower contributors and some other special guests. Rado and Jen will be here, and probably some other people as well that we haven't quite announced yet. But yeah, we hope you all will come and join us, especially if you live on the west side of the country. The East Coast has so many great conventions, but we're the West Coast. That's the best coast, and so we're gonna build up some gaming cons over here on this side of the country.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Crystal is, I guess, what is your title with Dice Tower West? Social media manager?
I think that's probably, I don't have a formal title, but I would say that is probably the most apt description. I don't do the contract negotiations or a lot of the logistical things behind the scenes, but I manage all of our social media accounts and then just help out here and there with anything else that needs to be done that I can help with. So Tim Mativier and David Millett are the heart and soul of this convention and have been for the past 5 years, and I am just happy to be able to assist them. I have always cared a great deal about the gaming community here in Las Vegas, and now obviously larger than that across the country. But it's important to me that we have a really fun event, especially for the people that live in Las Vegas, to attend every year. So this will be my this will be my 5th year helping out with the con. I did not help out in year 1. I attended in year 1, but years 2 on, I've been part of the team, and it's been wonderful.
Cool. The reason I brought that up is I was curious how the start of sales for this year's convention went. Were you ready to put out any fires that happened to come up? What was that first hour like, as far as your stress level and dealing with everything?
I think most people who've seen my content know I'm a pretty high-strung person in general. My baseline is higher than most. But yes, that first hour is very stressful for me. It's basically me bouncing back and forth from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram and all the way back and back again, over and over and over. Every comment, every message, because a lot of people send private messages when they have questions, which is great. But I try and respond in real time to everything. Then some people ask questions that I can't give answers to, and that gets frustrating and a little bit tough at times because I don't want to have our official pages sound unprofessional or rude, and sometimes when you give a non-answer, that is how that comes off, and I recognize that, but sometimes people ask things that either we just don't have an answer to or that hasn't been decided yet, and people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear, we don't know, but sometimes that's the answer. So trying to manage all of that, and it did not help that our hotel's website had a glitch in regard to pricing for the hotel rooms. They were displaying some of the nights as being $999, which was not accurate.
No.
But most expensive night is $139. But we had a lot of comments and messages come through about that, and and we were on the phone with the venue pretty much immediately, but since it wasn't our website that was the problem, there wasn't anything we could do to rectify it immediately. They did a really good job after the fact of helping us out. Their hotel manager personally went through all of the reservations to make sure that no one got charged more than they were supposed to and that everything was sorted out. But we feel bad because there's a woman that posted on our page saying that we were trying to commit credit card fraud.
I did see that.
I was like, I work for a credit card company. Please believe me when I say that's not what this is. Yeah. And no, we're not. And I think people, they admittedly for good reason get frustrated and sometimes aren't good about being patient.
Yes. Well, I think also, making sure that it was clear that this was, this is a relatively serious thing that needed to be corrected, and
absolutely,
and we do so.
And we were posting about it as soon as we were aware that it was happening. We posted in all of the relevant places, and I was responding to comments and messages as quickly as I could. But it's not an ideal situation, and there's no perfect way to deal with that kind of thing. So hopefully everybody ended up happy. Obviously, we don't want something like that to happen, but it's sometimes unavoidable.
Yeah. I did think of a couple other games that I was looking forward to play here. Sabotage, the new Tim Fowers game, arrived at my house, I think the day before. Yeah, I think yesterday. And I considered bringing it, and I opened it up and punched it and started reading the rules, but I ran out of time. I said, I don't know if I want to try and bring this to the convention. And Tom has a copy, so I might get a chance to play that here. Also, the second game that I thought of that I now have forgotten. Oh, Aftermath. I did bring Aftermath from Plaid Hat Games. That's the new Jerry Hawthorne storybook game that I haven't had a chance to play a full adventure on yet, and I think I might get some takers on that one here.
I imagine you definitely will get some takers.
I think so. I mean, my usual plan, especially getting up early, like I usually do with these things, is to just grab a table and pull something out and just see who walks by. That usually gets some of those get some of those games to the table because it's one of the tables that's available, and the early risers come in. There's only 2 or 3 games going on, so I usually get somebody. So that's
pretty awesome.
That's what I'm
Well, I know that we're not playing a trivia game tonight because we were unsure about how the internet connection was going to be there at the hotel, but we can answer some questions from the chat. So chat, if you have any questions for Eric or myself, whether that be about the retreat, about Dice Tower West, or about anything, games we've been playing recently, feel free to drop them in the chat. Because if you don't ask us any questions, then we're just going to end the stream because Eric's got stuff to do and also some sleep to catch up on, it sounds like.
I think I might just be going to sleep.
I mean, it's 9:30 there, so that seems like a completely reasonable thing to do for someone who woke up at 2 a.m.
It is, and I actually, as much as I want to get to the gaming, and again, this is going to be totally off topic, but that's where my brain is right now. At 7 a.m. tomorrow, I have to make my Fast Pass reservations for Disney. And I have a sheet of paper with all of my plans figured out and what I'm hoping to get reserved as quickly as possible. And I don't know how well it's going to work, but at 7 a.m., that's me on my app trying to get those reservations.
So what are you going for the Fast Passes? I have to know.
Okay, so which park are we talking about here?
Oh, well, please just tell me whatever you'd like.
The ones that I haven't done yet, I have not done the Avatar rides at Animal Kingdom yet. The last time we were there, that was just about to open. So that is very early. That's the one I want to do. Flight of Passage, I think it's called, and then there's a Navi River Journey. So those absolutely we want to do. And in the Magic Kingdom, we're going to try for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. That's sort of number one on the Fast Pass list. And in Hollywood Studios, we want to do Slinky Dog Dash, the Toy Story roller coaster.
Okay.
As far as I know, unless they change something, the Star Wars rides are not fast passable. So we're going to have to, we're just going to have to join the herd and go there first thing, and hope that the lines aren't too long. But that's our general plan. Although my son hates Star Wars, and so he's dead set against. He's threatening to just like wander off instead of go to the Star Wars rides.
Well, I feel like you should get him into Star Trek if he doesn't like Star Wars. Maybe.
I think he would appreciate Star Trek more. We've watched a few original series episodes, and now I'm suddenly thought. The problem is, I didn't bring it with me. I had planned to talk about a Star Trek game with you, Crystal.
Oh, really?
I had, and it's Star Trek Chrono Trek. Do you know of this game?
I heard about it a little bit. I heard that it existed, and I don't think I had heard about it like previously. But they had it at Gen Con, right? I think I saw it at Gen Con and was like, wait, what is that? I don't know about that.
Yes.
So yeah, I would love to hear about it.
So I don't have the visual aids. I'll have to just show it another time or not. I don't know. I wanted to show you because it's got some cool illustrations and flippable cards. Have you ever played the game Chrononauts?
I have not, but I've heard of it.
Okay. It's a Looney Labs game, and this is a Star Trek version of Chrononauts. So you have this giant array of, I want to say it's either 11 by 4 or 9 by 4 or something, big grid of ripple points in Star Trek history, going all the way from the beginning of life to defeating the Borg at the end of Voyager. And also, there's some sort of, this is why I need the visual aids. A lot of very specific character names and character details. Picard, I guess, got stabbed in the heart in the basic timeline, and that was the impetus to him becoming the captain that he is at the beginning of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And so in the game, you are flipping these ripple points, which cause these history things to change. And there are some areas you can change and some things that get affected by the things you change. So if I flip over Picard getting stabbed, if that doesn't happen, he doesn't become captain of the Enterprise. And he becomes like security officer. He never gets the promotion. And so he just is a lesser crew member on the Enterprise. And so that, I flip that, and that says you go to this grid space and flip this. The reason that this is happening is that you have an identity that is an alternate version. You're some sort of character that wants the timeline to look a certain way. So I was Archer. And I had to, I had to maintain one particular point in history. I think it was the original Enterprise doing something, playing a part in a peace negotiation or something. But I also had to flip another history point to an alternate version. And I also had to have Porthos, the dog, in my possession, because you have these items that you can have in your possession. And if I did that on my turn, I would win the game. There are more and more difficult characters in the game. So that Archer was very easy. I really only had to flip one thing and get one item. There are others that require you to get more items. There are others that require you to flip more things. There are others that, the most difficult ones, the 4 pip, because it's a pip level, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 pips.
Of course, the command rankings.
Of course. And they, the ones that are 4 pips require you to not only flip some piece of history, but then patch it with an alternate version of that history. And doing that can be very difficult, because as soon as somebody flips it back over, that alternate version goes in the discard pile, and you have to use cards to dig it back out again. This can be very frustrating. because it's Jason again. This can be very frustrating because you then have to dig and maybe even cycle through the deck. And that was one of my chief issues with Chrononauts, is that it can start to drag if you run into problems with your mission. However, there is...
Chrononauts? Are you talking about Star Trek?
I'm talking about Star Trek Chrononauts.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
It's fun.
I know.
Have you played it?
Not yet, but I like Chrononauts, and I sort of like Star Trek. Sorry, Crystal, I'm a Star Wars fan.
That's
Not
okay.
Star Trek.
I like both.
So it's you got the Star Trek chronology.
I like that I talk louder when I'm talking to Jason, even though that makes no difference. Like, I just start yelling when Jason's
Wait,
nearby.
Can I take one of the earpieces?
You can if you really want to.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Wait, now
I said.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Yeah,
about
I
my
said
ear.
it's funny that I started yelling when you were nearby. Like somehow yelling would make you hear me.
No, but I could hear you now, Crystal, and you didn't need to yell.
I realized this.
Okay, can I bring up a topic? And I'm curious because I'm about to alphabetize things. Do you guys like things alphabetized, or do you like things scattered? When you make a collection, do you like to alphabetize your collection or not?
I do not alphabetize my game collection.
So wait, are you alphabetizing within the shelf that things have been designated in?
I'm alphabetizing all the mini games that are in those little mini crates right now, but the ones on this round table here.
Hang on.
Show everyone the round table of games. So there's a bunch of crates there, sort of there, right there.
There we go.
And these have all our mini games like Bottle Imp and this. I want to alphabetize every one of those because I want people to find things easier. And if it's alphabetized, it's just easier to find things.
Well, in that case, I will accept that that's something that can be done because they're all the same size and it doesn't change the aesthetics of anything. So yeah, go ahead, alphabetize them.
Yeah, so I want to alphabetize each shelf. In case you guys didn't know, the way we have the library designed here is Tom put it by nice, pretty. Did you show everyone shelves?
Oh, I did.
They're nice and pretty.
They are very pretty.
We have a karaoke book that's alphabetized. That basically, when you go to a karaoke bar and you have a book.
I was like, wait, you have karaoke at the retreat? I'm getting on a plane right now.
No,
but you know how in karaoke bars they have a book where all the songs are alphabetized or by author or by like singer. So we have that, and we have a karaoke book where you could find the games, and it'll say it's on shelf 10 or shelf 20 or shelf whatever. It's kind of a cool concept.
This is my 12th most walked day.
Tom's talking about how much he's done in exercise.
21,000 steps.
But I like the karaoke concept. Okay,
I'm sorry, chat. This has gone off the rails.
No. So Crystal, here's a question for you. When you go to karaoke bars, since I know you love karaoke, how many books do they usually have at a karaoke bar to find the songs?
I really like karaoke a lot, and the places that I frequent here in Las Vegas are the ones that have private rooms, and they have digital systems. So you can actually search in the TV or in the app that they provide for any song or artist that you want. So I don't actually look at books anymore. I haven't in quite a while. My favorite place here in Vegas, Ninja Karaoke, has an amazingly huge song selection. And yeah, you literally just open the app and you type in what you want, and then you hit the button and it sends it to your room. You connect directly to your room from your phone, and it's awesome.
I think we're gonna have to find this app, and we're gonna have to put the Dice Tower Library in this app where you just punch in a game and it goes shelf 4.
Well, the Dice Tower Library is on Board Game Geek. There's actually a account for the Dice Tower Library, and it would be pretty easy to make a note on each of the games in the collection that says what shelf it's on. We didn't know what shelf it was on until today. It was just decided today.
I know.
So and maybe you could do that.
I might. I'm a very organized person.
After you're done alphabetizing, why don't you go on Board Game Geek and put in all of the...
I think I want an app because then everyone can... I mean, I guess Board Game Geek is an app, but I want our own app where it's just like we could... I want our own app where it does this automatically. So does anyone out there know how to make apps that can make us a cool app like this? Anyone who's watching?
I love that you're spending Tom's money for him right now.
No, I'm just thinking of good ideas. Remember, this library is coming on the cruise too, and going out to Dice Tower West and Dice Tower East. This is going to be the library for everything.
Well, we could also maybe have more than one book in the future, but right now we were handwriting the answers of where everything is. I
I
mean, this is
know.
all sort of a work in progress.
I know, but I really like Crystal's idea of having an app where you just punch in a game and it tells you what shelf. That's great.
That is a good idea. I like it.
I think we can definitely add that to the list of things to try and do in the near future.
It's basically an
Yes.
Excel spreadsheet. We could probably make that happen.
I know.
True.
I trust Team Dice Tower here, so we're doing good. How's everyone doing in the chat? I know Jeff. You said you guys were answering questions, so let's continue with Jeff's questions so I don't distract too much.
Were there questions? I don't know. They've been talking about books and
And
sci-fi
karaoke and
karaoke.
Weird Al.
Yes, yes, and Disney rides because we were talking about that.
Speaking of Disney, guess who's going to be going to the Star Wars ride at the end of this month?
You are.
Is it you?
Yes! I'm so excited to fly the Millennium Falcon and bash those buttons.
Bashing buttons.
have you
That's
guys
a
been there
good
yet?
time. No, I haven't. And the one in
Opened
California
3
has been
days
open.
ago.
Well,
Oh,
the one in
the one in
California has been open for a while.
Yeah.
Since mid-June. But I have not been out there yet. Even though I really, really am excited about it, I am the type of person that really hates those like new crowds at rides. So I will probably not be visiting the one in California for at least 6 to 9 months, if not a year from when it opens. Just so, although it's funny, they were actually saying that the crowds were smaller in the parks in general. Like attendance in California was actually down after Star Wars opened because so many people were just avoiding coming to
I
the
know.
parks at all.
Yeah.
But they have virtual lines, so you don't even have to wait. You just pick a time, and then they tell you to come back like 5 hours later.
Well, that was
Yeah.
in California. They're not doing that in Florida.
I know. Well, what they're doing fast
Well,
pass.
and they've made a lot of changes to how they manage things in California. Since opening, they've changed the rules for the restaurants and the rides a couple different times to try and make things better and more manageable, and so people don't camp out at the restaurants all day. There's a lot of different things going on. I think Disney's working really hard to make sure the experience is as good as possible, but I don't think that they've completely nailed it yet.
And that's why Star Trek Chrono Trek is a game that I enjoyed.
You know what's funny is after you started describing it, I think I have played Chrononauts once, like years ago, because as you were describing it, it sounded very familiar.
Oh, she echoes. That's the problem.
Got it.
It wasn't a noise thing. The other thing I wanted to mention, Crystal, is that there's this timer. As you look at
I thought it was. I actually thought this was candy. but it's
this
actually
is
bits.
Board Gamer Candy. So with all the bits that Tom replaced with like you could dump it all over your computer, replaced with
Upgraded components.
Upgraded components. These are all the original
So look,
components.
here's the quacks. These are the bad quacks pieces.
These are the Etsy quacks pieces.
Now imagine how good we got the one from Board Game Geek, the nice lucite.
Yeah, I have those as well.
But these are like the plastic. Somebody's
yeah,
got-
the
somebody's got
3D printed
fish one
one.
of these out though.
And they can make a.
Yeah, I
plastic
don't think that's
set.
happening.
There's
Look,
what else is in here?
here
Got some
are
Ticket
tokens
to
for,
Ride trains.
Race for the
Race
Galaxy.
For the Galaxy.
Here's a
Some Keyforge
D10.
thingies.
It's cool trying to figure out what all these pieces are.
All right, were you talking about
It
a
is.
game?
I just wanted to mention
Star Trek Chrononauts.
that, so you can be Q in the game, and what Q wants to do is see all life eradicated. And the way this happens is that there's an anomaly that works its way backward through time. There's different event cards that cause this thing to come out, and it pops up, and the first thing it does is flip over the last event in the timeline. But if it works its way all the way to the first event in the timeline, everyone loses unless you're Q. And at
That's
least
pretty cool.
that means that the game will end one time through the deck, as opposed to possibly having to go through it multiple times, as you would do in the original Chrononauts.
Okay.
It's still Chrononauts. It can still be frustrating, but for fans of Star Trek, I think it is solid. And the entertainment value there in manipulating the Star Trek timeline, I think overcomes some of those frustrations.
And that's neat because I can already kind of in my head imagine some of the events that exist in that deck. Like I'm sure the Borg going back and destroying the hangar where Zephyr Cochrane's ship was is probably on one of the cards, and there's other things like that. So that I think you're probably right that there would be a lot of interest there just based on the the Star Trek references. But yeah, if the game is solid as well, then I'll have to check it out.
Very cool. Jason, you have to go alphabetize, right?
Well, aren't you going to ask me what game I've been playing?
Oh, what game have you been playing?
Me and Tom have been playing The King's Dilemma.
Oh yeah, Tom just talked about that on the podcast this week.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, he's already told you, but I'm going to tell you my opinion of it. It's awesome. It's super awesome. We keep playing it every week. We play like 3 or 4 games of it, and we're going further and further. And my character is the Marquis of Torque. So when I became...
Wait, the Marquis
like
of what?
Of Twerk, T-W-E-R-K?
T-O-R-K, like Torque.
Torque. The Marquis of Twerk should definitely be in a board game.
I'm not the Marquis of Twerk. I'm the Marquis of Torque. So the funny thing is, every time that I get to be king, I've made King Mork from Torque, and his slogan is Nanu Nanu. I mean,
that's why. Okay, Tom said Mork from Orc. Like he said the normal thing.
Actually, he said
Mork
from Mork, which
I'm Mork from
Mork
Torque.
From Mork.
And then I had Mindy. I had Queen Mindy from Torque, and her slogan was Shazbot.
Of course. Okay, well, I have a question for you then, Jason. So, for the record, I know that on Kickstarter right now is actually a board game version of the mobile app Reigns, R-E-I-G-N-S. But when I heard King's Dilemma discussed, it actually sounds a lot like the mobile game Reigns in some ways. Have you played that game? Can you speak to if it has some similar aspects to it?
I haven't played that, but I could tell you King's Dilemma is basically, it's a story game. Like it's a deep story game. There's a game to it where you're voting, and the voting is kind of the mechanic to get you through the game, where you get to vote on, do you want this to go up, do you want this to go down, and you'll get...
I mean, that's literally what Reigns does, is you've got a card on screen, and there's someone talking to you, maybe like your priest, or a villager, or somebody, or the jester, and you make a decision by swiping the card either to the left or the right, and when you do that, you have 4 bars at the top of the screen, your wealth, your religion, your hunger level, something else, and when you swipe, those bars change, and if any of them ever hit the very top or the very bottom of their respective tracks, then you lose, the king dies, and a new king is formed. And when you guys were describing King's Dilemma, I was like, this sounds like Reigns, but a board game.
It does, but this board game, I mean, I'm telling you, I play some legacy games. I mean, obviously we played Pandemic Legacy both seasons, and I played some others, but this is the most deep storytelling legacy game I've ever played, and every time I want to come back and play it again. I've never felt this way, where I could play this 50 times and keep going. I want to find out what happens at the end of the story. We went through a mountain pass. We found a sword. I found iron, then I made a sword, and it's very storytelling, and the voting's fun. The game part of it, the voting is fun, and it's do I want to make this go up, make this go down? You have your own personal goals that other people don't know about, so you're trying to get goals. We still don't know what Crave does. You're craving power or something, but we don't quite know what Crave does. But at some point, we're going to find out if we messed up by taking a lot of Crave. But
okay,
it's. I'm telling you, if you like storytelling games, this is the storytelling game of the year, if not more. I mean, I walked by it at Gen Con. I told Eric this a number of times, and I looked at how big the box was and how small my leftover luggage space was, and I just decided not to buy it. But I really, really am interested in that one a lot. Well, don't worry. Next time me and Tom see you, if we're not all the way at the end, we're going to be like, hey, come play a game with us. Because that's what we've been doing. We've been grabbing different people. We started with Melody, and then we went to someone else in our game group, and then someone else in our game group, and every week we play like 2 or 3 games. It's been a phenomenal ride so far, and it's not my game of the year, but it's gonna be in my top 10 for sure at this point. Right now, my game of the year is still Wingspan, even though I did play Tapestry already, and Tapestry is pretty good too. But Wingspan still beats it. But yeah, right now King's Dilemma is up there for top games of the year. It is a phenomenal experience.
All right, Eric, it looked like you had something you wanted to say there, but I don't know, maybe...
Oh, I was wondering if you're going to be disappointed if Crave just meant that you really wanted a donut.
I
mean, is that going to ruin the game for you if you're just like, it turns out you really wanted a donut all this time?
I would be really disappointed if
That would be the king's dilemma.
Okay, I'm already sensing like a Simpsons remake of this. Like, where's Mike Parkinson right now to make a Simpsons remake of it with donuts and?
Sure. Well, I mean, so now you have your agenda. You need to alphabetize all of the small games. You need to digitize the shelf catalog and then retheme the King's Dilemma. You got your work cut out for you.
Yes. Anyway, let me let you guys go because I know you're gonna wrap up soon. So I want to let you continue.
Oh, thank you.
Bye, Crystal.
He can still
Bye,
hear you.
Jason.
We can't talk about him yet.
Oh, okay. Bye, Jason.
Now you can talk about me.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, everyone at home. We'll see you soon.
That's nice to have Jason stop by the stream.
It is. He's so enthusiastic.
He and I think have similar energy. So honestly, putting the two of us together maybe not always a good idea. But you know.
I had to get out of the way.
Wait, what?
With the
yeah,
energy.
you have to do the lean. That's not good for your back, sir.
No, it's not. I did see a question go by in the chat, folks talking about the Dark Crystal, which I have not yet seen any of. There's a new series on Netflix that is, I guess,
it's a prequel
to the original film. And I don't know if I have talked about it here, haven't I? That I actually have interacted with some of the props from the Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
My past at the Jim Henson Company, so that's kind of cool. And I haven't had a chance to watch this one yet, but it looks really
I haven't either. I know that I saw the Dark Crystal when I was little, but it's been a really long time and I was pretty young, so I don't really remember it that well. So I don't necessarily have the nostalgia for it that a lot of people do, but I'm still curious about it. So I've actually been busy binge watching Veronica Mars because I had never seen it before, and oh my gosh, it is a delight. I love it so much, and I had multiple people recommend it to me over the years, but I should have watched it sooner. I'm like 12 or 13 episodes into season 2 right now, so I have about half of the original run left, and then the movie, and then the new 4th season that just came out last month, so I've got plenty left, which is exciting.
Yeah, I have actually never delved into Veronica Mars.
Man, it is a delight, Eric. I can't even. It's so good, and it shouldn't be, honestly. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still 6 episodes into season 1 of Stranger Things, so
Okay.
I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, that's like, there's too much good television, which is a great problem to have. Shoot, there's new stuff coming this month on TV that I'm already like, I don't have time for this, but I mean, I'm obviously making time for The Good Place this final season. That is number one priority for this month.
I mean, we always, my wife and I always say, well, we'll catch up during the summer, and we have caught up to stuff that's in the DVR, but as far as anything that's on streaming, we just haven't. And now new shows are going to start in the next month, and here we go.
Yeah, there's a new show made by the same people who make BoJack Horseman, and it's starring Bob Odenkirk. That's coming out this month on Amazon Prime. I don't remember the name of it offhand, but it's in that rotoscope style, the same as A Scanner Darkly, where it's like it looks animated but it's not. I am fascinated, and all of the people involved are people that I think are super talented, so I'm excited to see that one get started.
Huh. Yeah, I always wait for the Entertainment Weekly fall TV preview episode or issue, and flip through and circle stuff, and here's what I want to see. And I always bite off more than I can chew, because there's always too many shows to keep up with, and invariably I end up with 13 episodes of something recorded on my DVR, and eventually go, do I really care? Nope. Delete. And it happens every year, and it seems to be happening more and more every time this happens.
All right, well, it looks like we are about at our end time, Eric.
End time. You want one last look at the room? Here we go.
Yeah, let's give everybody one last look at the room.
Here's one last look at the room. Ah, here it comes.
Oh no!
What?
Should we end the stream very quickly?
What are you doing? Were you going for a walk?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I'm not gonna. Here, you go for a walk and do it like that. No, there we go.
Okay.
Oh my. Oh my.
Here's Tom. All right, cameraman Tom. So here we go.
Hello.
We're looking at Tom. And we're going to get a close-up look at the shelves. So here we go. This is a close-up look at the Dice Tower shelves.
Okay, so shelf 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all took at the right size boxes because, as we all know, that is one of the best 2 sizes of boxes there are.
Yes,
No,
although
true.
there was a lot to carry, is what I said today. I disliked them.
Then we're at the
slightly.
Ameritrash section. As you notice, mostly Command games. And then I'm going to back up a little
Back
bit,
up,
'cause
yeah, because you're only seeing a small little bit here.
Oh, you're bad at zooming. Okay. And then there's the big boxes, more big boxes, and now we're at the other second good size box. This is the Euro game stuff. All right, cool. And more of that. More of that. There's Catan. And I bet the Euro gamers are like excited.
That's the exciting shelf.
Now
Yep.
we run out of then look at all those tiny boxes.
Yep.
We got all those tiny epics and all the
And
unlocks
all the unlocks.
here.
Very nice.
And then all this course.
And there's the Kenny G game. Maybe I want to play that.
This is a party game show.
It's pretty fun.
Party games.
Got Rhino Hero.
And
Quad Heroes.
here, nothing really exciting here.
This is where the uniformity falls apart.
Well, whatever. Okay, over here, this is good versions of Monopoly shelf. And then we started running out of boxes here. And
Right, yeah.
This is games that are so expensive that you're happy to have them, and yet no one ever plays them shelf.
Yeah. Yep.
And
And
that's
then, there we are. We have seen what we've seen. Ta-da! And the problem now is that we've walked across the room and my script is over there, so I can't do the outro yet. So quick, vamp, Crystal.
Okay, well, I will admit I'm pretty jealous. The shelves look awesome. Lots of great games there. I hope you all have so much fun during the retreat, and I really truly wish I could be there with you all. But I will hopefully get to see a lot of the people that are out at the retreat on the cruise in January.
I'm looking forward to the cruise as well, but for now we get to do some fun games for the next few days. And I hope everybody has a good weekend full of gaming.
You can announce that.
I can announce the what? Oh, Paula Deming's coming on the cruise.
Yay!
Even better.
Jason's back.
Paula's going to be your roommate, in case you didn't know.
I was the one who suggested that she come because I love her.
I set that up for you guys to be roommates.
Yay! That makes me very happy.
He set that up.
Well, I'm the one who sorts the rooms, and I don't think you knew the first year me and Eric were roommates on the cruise, Crystal.
We were.
Ooh.
We were, and the best thing was literally every night, as it was nighttime, he'd be like, "Jason, close your eyes," in that perfect werewolf one night voice. It was great.
That's pretty
didn't
cool.
happen.
No, but I wish it did because it would have been really cool, and it would put me to sleep right away.
All right, well, I think we're going to
Well,
wrap
there
it
you
up
go.
here. So thank you all for joining us. Please make sure you click the little thumbs up button below the video. Help us with those YouTube algorithms. Give us a thumbs up. And until next time, I'm Crystal Pisano,
I'm Eric Summerer.
and you've been watching Dice Tower Tonight.
Thanks for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for another installment in our own homes. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me with assistance from Tom Vassell, Chris Barr, Roy Kennedy, and Rob Searing. That time when that kid came back to Tom's office time after time after time on Halloween, provided by Dice Tower Retreat. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek, on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network. Find something new at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have
fun gaming. Bye, everyone.
Oh boy, there is a reason why I do this without a live audience.
Oh, gosh.
You know what? I can't figure out where the where the window is that turns this off.
Well, then we'll
Seriously.
vamp some more.
This
It's okay.
really is. This is like the grandpa not knowing where the thing is.
Where's
Because
where's
here it is.
where's the off button?
Tom's got his buttons in different places. Okay, for real this time. Later, everybody. Have a good weekend.